Happy New Year, Animal Crossers! I'm playing the New Horizons New Year event right now and reflecting on how 2026 will be a new start for me. This is actually going to kind of be a vlog instead of gaming focused. To be very real, 2022 through 2025 were the hardest years of my adult life. I'm not getting into all of that online, but this year was especially personally hard for me because it was the first time I had to put down a pet, and she'd been with me for a little over 12 years. It's been a few months and I miss her all the time, honestly. I had no idea how much it actually hurts to lose a pet, and I didn't know that billions of people are just walking around heartbroken over pets all of the time. I'm also low-key stressed because something is wrong with my voice. Like, my voice has dropped like 2 octaves in the last couple of months. I think it's stress, so that's something to get checked out. But everything else is very personal and not going on the internet. But 2026 will be an improvement, and that is something that I will force into happening. I always start my year reflection with double checking my journal and camera roll for high and low points of each month. This kind of broke me for 2025, to be honest. So thankfully, any improvements for 2026 will be incredible. I'm letting 2025 go so I can restart with entirely new feelings, except I do still miss my cat and always will. After the year reflection, I always prepare for the new year by clearing out my tabs, bookmarks, saved links, desktop files, all of my files really. I save those to an external hard drive and usually wipe my computer and phone to start the new year with fresh devices. Having a bunch of digital clutter really weighs on you, just like having a bunch of physical clutter does. So it helps my brain feel better and get me in the right headspace for a new start. As for how 2026 will change, I actually don't really call resolutions resolutions. In my head, I always hear that statistic of something like 80% of resolutions are abandoned within a month, and I don't like to weaken my goals by having them associated with that. I basically just call them will-dos because I will do them. But progress is progress so long as I'm actively working at them. I'm happy at that point. So, things that I will do in 2026. I'm going to get my Spanish and Arabic skills back up to fluency again. I used to be fluent until I moved to an area where I didn't hear them basically ever, and now my skills are pretty much gone. I'm going to become fluent in Russian as well. There is a fairly large population of people who speak Russian as a first language near me, and I like being able to talk to people in their primary language. Plus, I just love learning languages in general. So to achieve those goals, I'm looking for language classes near me. I learn best in classroom or practical environments with a teacher or a natural speaker. I deleted my Duolingo account back when they fired their translators in favor of using generative AI, so I will not be using Duolingo to supplement classes. Mango may be an option. I'm double checking that this afternoon because I want my supplemental language practice app to be run by experts in that language instead of a lying machine. I've also signed back up for music lessons. I play guitar and keyboard and really want to learn how to play the violin. I just learn best when I have a teacher to report to who can tell me when I'm doing something incorrectly right away so that I don't keep practicing the wrong way and give myself permanent bad form. Although my first piano teacher ever, when I was a kid, taught me to pull my head up on the downbeat instead of bobbing it down, and I still do that, so I always look like I'm on the 1-3 when I promise I'm on the 2-4, y'all. So miss whatever your name was, you constantly, for the rest of my life, have made me look offbeat when I'm really not. And I've signed up for dance classes. I've signed up for salsa and Bollywood classes. My music and dance classes start in February though. Whenever I do something new requiring classes or signing up for anything, I wait until February for the crowds to dissipate a bit after people abandon their resolutions. And usually classes are cheaper to sign up for in February than January. So January is a prep month for me while I go through everything I own to donate it or discard as much of it as I can in the meantime. I like to spend January doing as much as I can to prepare for the new habits or values I want to improve for the year. I'm also going to switch out all of my physical books for books that I like. I've been an avid reader my entire life. Like, I got in trouble as a kid for reading all the time. So starting at like 12 years old, I think, I started moving all of my books to digital format, so I started buying physical books again, but I made the mistake of telling basically everyone that I was getting back into physical books, and a lot of people who don't know me well started giving me books that were basically just saving them a trip to donate them, which is actually pretty funny, and I do appreciate that because it was still free reading material. But I want everything in my home to make me very happy. So actually my plan for tomorrow is to weed through my bookcase to pack up all of the books that aren't in my favorites and drop them off for donation, then make the list of my favorite books and start working my way through buying physical copies of what I don't have. I can't decide if I want to do the thing of buying a pretty physical edition yet, because I really want to buy from a few local bookstores and it might be harder to do that through them. But actually now that I'm saying that out loud, I think I can just go through them if I have the ISBN of a book I want and just ask them to order it for me. Life lesson. Always just ask if there's something you want. I struggle with anxiety, I always have, but my life honestly got so much better. I started getting way more things that I actually wanted when I just started asking people for it. If you just ask, a lot of time people just say yes. So as soon as I find the ISBNs of each book that I don't have but want, I'll just call or visit my local bookstores and see if I can just order through them. That way I don't have to go through a national chain. Related, I'm working on getting my shopping as local as possible. I generally don't buy very much for myself because life is expensive, and when I do, I want to support local shops rather than chains as much as I can. One of my biggest physical goals this year is to go back to being caffeine free. I was caffeine free for years until I started working at my current job. So I'm going to spend my first long weekend of 2026 cold turkey quitting caffeine. That's coming up in 2 weeks. So until then, I'm easing up on how much caffeine I have every day and just having a low-grade caffeine withdrawal headache permanently until then. I just have to pick a new habit to rely on until the caffeine cravings go away. I've stocked up on LaCroix, I don't know how to pronounce that. So that would just become my new caffeine habit. Instead of walking to the coffee shop every day, I'll just have some of that. Also in 2026, I love yoga lattes. I'm gonna keep that up, but I'm also gonna add strength training back. I'm gonna be able to bench 200 pounds by the end of the year. Did I just say I want to? No, I will bench press 200 pounds. I'm also signing up for a lot more races. I got into races last year and want to do more this year. A problem I'm seeing is that a weird amount of race organizers are now using generative AI to design their t-shirts, medals, promotional materials, sometimes the race routes, and participant photos. I will absolutely never sign up for a race that does that. So it's really weird now when there is a race I see that I have interest in, that I now have to research if the advertised route is actually even physically possible, when last year that was not a concern. I will also be training for a half marathon. I don't know if I want to run a half marathon in 2026. I've got a lot going on, but I am going to spend the year training for one. I'm also increasing my step count, so now that instead of 10,000 steps every day, I'm gonna do at least 15K. I've gotten really into my nice little walks and runs, and it's nice, so I just want to do more. Money-wise, I am so determined to pay off my debt, it isn't even funny. I'm actually devastated because I've had multiple jobs my entire life, starting back when I was in middle school, but this is the first time in my entire life that I've struggled with even trying to find a part-time second job. I want to pay off school and my car and get my savings back up because moving and some emergencies like needing to get a car destroyed my savings, and the cost of living crisis is pricing me out of life basically, let alone being able to rebuild. But I need cash to do that, but can't even get a barista side job like normal because places just aren't hiring. As soon as I can get a second job, I'm going all in on getting my money back into a stable position, and I'm working on trying to avoid extra stress about that until then. I can't control whether or not places are hiring, but can control networking and applying to every place that is. So the universe will work in my favor, and as soon as it does, I will pay off my debt and get my savings to a place where I can feel okay again. For mental health, I'm absolutely putting a new focus on my sleep. I've let my sleep become havoc and it impacts all other areas of my life. I'm putting together a new bed frame and will be spending the next week purging everything in my room to make it as minimalist and distraction-free and dark as possible. to be the easiest place in the world to sleep instead of just anxiety pacing 24/7. I'm also getting back into therapy. I got some really good referrals for local therapists, and I'm very excited about a few of them. I've almost finished going through the list because I got like 15 offices that will accept my insurance, and I've gone through 9 or 10 of them so far. So this week I'll finish going through all of them and reach out to the ones I actually like to set up intro sessions and narrow down which one I actually want to work with, obviously depending on my insurance's rules. I will also be traveling more for fun in 2026 than I have since the pandemic began. Almost all of my travel for the last 6 years has been for work. Now that we know just how nasty airports are, I avoid them as much as I can in favor of traveling by train, which is honestly such a luxurious way to travel. It's bonkers. This is a want to, not necessarily a going to, because it's very dependent on weather, but I want to celebrate my birthday this year by skydiving. I think bringing in a new year on a massive adrenaline rush sounds like a very fun and terrifying in a semi-controlled way, but if it's raining, the skydiving place I want to use doesn't run, so it just depends on whether or not it's raining on my birthday. As I was putting together my vision board for 2026, I also realized I don't spend enough time in museums like I used to. So actually this morning I will be at an art museum a few hours away if the roads are safe, because the roads might be too icy for traveling. But I am dedicating a weekend every month to visiting at least one art museum, and if I can combine that with like historical museums or aquarium visits too, that's perfect. There are a lot of museums in my state that have a free museum day once a month, and I'm going to try to do as many of those as I can. Although I do think buying a ticket for museum entry is very fair because I want to support arts research and funding. I also realized I don't spend enough time in nature like I'd like to. Over the last 2 years, I just became less and less likely to be in nature like I like to be. So I'm dedicating a weekend every month to just going to natural places with no cell service, so I can just be one with nature and not hear ambulance sirens or think about email. Putting together my vision board also made me realize that I think I want to move to New York, which is not what I had expected to come out of making my 2026 vision board. I will have to do some soul searching on that. And it also made me realize that I miss writing. I haven't written creatively since undergrad, so I've signed up for a poetry club near me. Some kind of fictional long-form writing club would suit me better, I think. But it doesn't hurt to try poetry for a while, and if that doesn't work out, then I'm sure one of the people there will know of a good creative fictional writing club that I can try as well. I've really gotten into vision boards because when you put together your list of what you want to do for the year, that's in writing, but when you actually start looking for what it is you want to put it into some kind of visual format to look at every day for inspiration, it often reveals things you hadn't considered at all but realize are very important to you. I'm not putting all of my goals and reflections on the internet because of, internet safety, and also that's just not necessary. I'm just a person and the internet doesn't need to know everything about me. But I don't know, something is telling me to put these on the internet as accountability to myself. I know they're on the internet now. So even on days when I wake up and I'm just like, I just want to be a cocoon, I will still do something to work toward achieving my goals for the year that day because it's on the internet. I think the things you want to achieve or be are a reflection of who you already are. So if you set something as a resolution or a goal, you're probably like 99% completely capable of doing it. It's just a matter of actually doing it. I have hope for 2026. I think this will be a really good year, and I'm going to make it an improvement. I don't know, this is more of a vlog than anything gaming really, but playing the New Year's event in Animal Crossing just makes me smile. I just love New Year's in general. I love, reflecting and making new goals and working toward those new goals. So I hope y'all had a great New Year's. I hope that if you are the type of person who makes goals for the new year, that you really like the goals that you've set for yourself and that you're able to make progress towards them. I have some goofy stuff coming up soon. I'm preparing for 3.0 coming out in a couple of days. I'm visiting a bunch of Zelda-themed dream addresses before then to try to see them before the new Zelda items are added to the game. I didn't really make any goals for this channel. This isn't, I'm not trying to be an Animal Crossing YouTuber. Middle school me absolutely wants me to be an Animal Crossing YouTuber, but this is just kind of a way for me to just goof off and Final Cut editing skills, you know? Although I have been very basic about it so far. I think later on I will get more advanced with it. I will see y'all in the upcoming videos. Happy New Year!